Today we take a closer look at racism. Racism is a disease that needs immediate attention. It is one of the most sensitive topics for most people around the world. First, we must identify what is racism. Racism is a poor treatment or violence against people because of their race.
First of all, we have to know or look at how racism affects every individual in the society. It stems from ignorance, and this ignorance affects everyone, even the people who weren't there when this evil deed was being plotted. Ignorant blacks and whites, people who are in denial, black middle class and educated youth, born frees, and others who make comments on these heavy issues based on common knowledge. We've gathered a few points to help all of us understand what racism is, how it was established, and how it continues to affect us today. We all want to live in a society where people are equal despite of their skin color or race. We all have different imaginations of how we can achieve this. Someone might say we need to acknowledge the wrongs done by the past so that we can heal. Some people on social media have been saying that we need to correct our past. The problem though is that our past can never be corrected. It's in the past where it belongs. What we need to correct is the present as it is our reality. This comes through atonement and redress. But to be able to do that, we all have to come to terms and understand our past. In the South African context, racism is a product of colonialism and apartheid. These two phenomena created a social order we see today where whites are on the top ladder and blacks on the bottom. Even though a few black people are wealthy, the majority of them still live in townships and villages where there are high levels of unemployment and poverty. Black people won't fully understand white people's situation and how they understand racism. Same goes for white people. They won't understand fully as most of them live well. They still enjoy the fruits of apartheid. Even though black people are free to vote, the crimes of the past couldn't be fixed by freeing Madiba and implementing a new constitution. The dismantling of apartheid didn't exactly correct the past or even the present or the reality of the society we imagine that we live in with all its inequalities. To get to the root of this, we need to understand the Group Areas Act, which excluded the majority and reserved the majority of the land to the minority. Jobs were reserved for a certain type of people, and that is the system that took away humanity of black people. There are some white people who live in poverty and there is a growing middle class of black people. Our focus should be on the overall society, how racism affects different people from different walks of life, and how the majority still live in the economic spatial injustice created by the past and still exist in the present. There are blacks who are happy to be unentitled blacks, who feel like they are better than all other black people who have been protesting about service delivery, Fistman's Fall, and even the government itself. They feel like they are better than the blacks who ban schools, loiter the streets, begging and looking for odd jobs to provide for their families. Another ill narrative is that black people are lazy, inherently incompetent, and have a propensity to commit crime. It was brought up by Vicky Mombeck, but it's nothing new because that is how black people see themselves too, and it doesn't make any of those people right. Vicky says a lot of things about black people in that ENCA video clip, and her words capture with incredible precision how white people see black people, which leads to blacks seeing themselves how the world say they are. In the real society we live in, racism still exists and we hide behind the transparent Rainbow Nation flag, which is just a myth because black and white people cannot tolerate each other. Some blacks feel that white people must atone for the apartheid crimes despite whether they were involved in the regime. This is something that white people quickly dismiss and think it's ridiculous. Both black and white, the decisions our forefathers made still affect us today because they shaped our reality. A reality where the majority black people are poor and white people live well, have the best jobs, all in the name of white privilege. With all this being said, life is hard for white people as well. They grew up knowing that the world belongs to them. All of a sudden they have to share it. Someone might ask, can black people be racist? The answer is yes, but it's much more difficult for black people to be systematically racist. Such people are rare relative to whites in authority. In almost all cases, there are white authorities above those blacks and wouldn't stand for any racist action. Even in the cases where a black person is on top of a power structure as President Zuma, he isn't totally free to oppress white people as it is in his own need to have their confidence and support. Oppressing white people means he is going to scare them away, given that they have most of the power in the economy. There aren't many institutions in the world where black people exercise final and controlling authority. In South Africa though, black people have powers in the government sector, where we've never seen a majority of black people practicing racism, but even if they were, white supremacy is a global thing. I guess in African countries, there will be racism imposed on whites by blacks, but even if it exists, it is limited by the reality of global economics.
Hi, Godfrey. So I'd like to get your point of view regarding this sensitive topic, racism. What is racism to you?
Well, racism is one race thinking they're superior than the other.
And would you say, being a democratic country that South Africa is, would you say that we still have experienced cases of racism in this day and age?
Well, yes, just that now it's not what it used to be. Racism used to be like what it is, one race thinking they're superior than the other.
Yes.
But now it's more of a black man's problem than
How
a
do you
white
mean?
man's.
How do you mean?
What I'm talking about is it's more of a perception issue. We need to deal with our mindset.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is maybe a white person isn't thinking that they're superior. Maybe we're thinking that a white man is thinking that they're superior.
Yes.
If we can just deal with that, if we can just deal with our own self-esteem.
Okay, so you mean like our own insecurities?
Yes, precisely. What I'm talking about is we need to stop seeking acceptance from a white man. We need to start building our own self-worthiness. We need to show the coming generation that being black is not a problem. Being black is not the product of apartheid. It's not a product of the inferiority.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's being black is something that we were born with. We were born black to be, we're just different. We need to accept that we're different. We have a different culture. We need to actually be proud of ourselves, of who we are. We need to stop seeking acceptance. We need to make a white man want to be black.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We need to stop wanting to be white.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I hear you, Godfrey. But then when you say we're different, to me, what comes to mind is the same thing that white people think, that it's the same thing that I think that white people think.
Yes.
Like you said, that they better and all of that, and that we're different in some way, because we've had cases where in Durban the other time a white female actually referred to us as apes.
Yes. Because now.
So how do you mean that we're different? Do you mean that in our cultural practices or what?
Well, I can say that they call us apes. I can say that they call us apes. We can call them whatever. We can give them names and whatever. But basically, what I'm saying is we took an offense of that.
Yes.
And they're always going to have that against us.
Yes.
They're going to call us apes and we're going to react a certain way.
You're right, because we believe it. We believed it first before.
Yes, basically. That's what I'm saying. They put that in us and we're still holding on to it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like the word cafe, we're holding on to that. Why are we holding on to that word? Is my question.
It's quite hectic, because I mean it means that we think of ourselves as barbaric.
Yes.
And not worthy. And if somebody says it, they touch a nerve, because you can't offend me if I never thought of it in the first place.
If I never believed it, is what I'm saying. If somebody tells you a snake, you know you're not a snake. Why the hell would you be offended? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Godfrey, thank you so much. I mean, it's quite an interesting perspective that you took, because most people always blame the system and the apartheid system and Nelson Mandela and all of that, but it's good to hear a refreshing side of the definition. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, Uncle Melo. What I think about racism, I feel that these people, come to think of it, we didn't ask for it. It was imposed on us. We were never racist to each other. We were never saw each other differently. We just saw each other differently because of tradition. But it was never a problem that much, I believe. If you look at the history of black people, not only our different cultures like Botswana, Zulu, and all that, Ghanaian and all that. If you look at our history from black people, from the Egyptians, from King Musa, Mansa Musa, we ruled the world actually. Before Christianity, there was the Mad, the religion of Mad. It was black people's religion. So white people saw that we are peaceful people, and they came to learn from us, and then they went back and plotted against us, and then they capitalist on top of us. But nonetheless, not a problem. It's something that we black people, we should unite now, since we are divided by television, by churches, by status, So we need to unite and get it together. Before we say white people are racist to us, we need to appreciate each other first, so that you don't care if he's racist or not. Thank you.
Thank you for watching SnapDash. Please leave your comments about today's episode on our Facebook page or email us. I'm Kilebogile Tlamme signing out.